Hey guys, welcome to the Cutting Edge. We're at Jimmy P's Butcher Shop, where the Pepper family has been in business for about 30 years. This location, about 18 to 20 years. They specialize in specialty cut beefs, wild game, anything you can kind of think of, ingredients that you can't find anywhere else. That's actually what we're here for. We're going to talk with two of the main butchers. One's been here for 13 years, one's been here for 18 years, and they have all the knowledge that we're looking for. Then we're going to take a couple of cuts to the house, and we're going to go ahead and show you how to cook it, okay?
This is the bulk of our store right here. This is the meat case. This is our showcase, all Wagyu beef.
Awesome. So we have short ribs. We got Wagyu baseball cuts. We got top sirloin. We have number 7, number 5s, What do all the numbers mean exactly?
Those numbers are representing a marble score. In Australia, where this beef is raised, it's all the Wagyu breed of cattle, but to differentiate it, they have the marble score. So that's why you'll see those numbers in number 4, number 7. That's just a different marble score. As the number goes up, so does the marble content. That's what gives you your flavor and your tenderness. Okay. But you'll see the price go up as well. So
when you go up into a regular store and you're looking at the USDA, you got Select, you got Choice, you have Prime.
Those are all United States grading points.
And so those are the best that you can get in the store. But if you want to go above that, like you said, above the cut, you're going to come here because this is above all that.
Exactly. Right? Like this top sirloin, this was the first piece of Wagyu beef we brought in also back in 2003. And you know, people typically stay away from a top sirloin. It's usually a tough, chewy steak, but you could see the marble content that's in there. We were so impressed with the top sirloin, you know, that we were like, well, if that sirloin eats as good as it does, the rest is going to be amazing, and it is. And it's been that consistent since 2003, same price and everything.
Now when you come down to here, and this is looking crazy up here, A5 strip, it says product of Japan. So you said you get everything else from Australia.
Everything is out of Australia. That particular item, that's straight from Japan. We buy that direct, and that's their highest grade of marble content right there.
So we have $100 a pound right there. What makes that so special? Why would I want to buy that?
Well, because if you look close and you see all that marble content, that is what is giving you your flavor and your tenderness. And it's very hard to get that marble content. It takes centuries of keeping particular bloodlines together. That's why you never see it in the United States. You know, they're constantly crossbreeding, and you're not going to get that quality. If we started to raise cattle to this day doing their program, we wouldn't see that marble content in our lifetime.
Now, I believe there's a misconception. Okay, so you got a lot of people out there, and they're, you know, protective of certain things and whatever. Sure. They say that they hang the cattle in a room, or they massage them. They just stuff them full of food to try to get this marbling content. Oh, yeah. It's not exactly correct, right?
Well, if you go back in history, they were doing some of those extreme measures, you know. But as you know, there are different laws, and we've progressed. They don't quite go to those extremes. The biggest thing is keeping the animal relaxed. You know, that's why you hear those stories of them, you know, massaging them and feeding. Now, the misconception, they feed them a beer mash. They're not necessarily feeding them a beer, but like a barley and hops mash. Okay. As it ferments, they're able to, you know.
And that's what gives it all the marbling throughout.
It's part of it, yeah. And also, recently we were reading on they were feeding him red wine because the cows were having a hard time eating out there, so they were feeding him red wine. Now what that did was calm the animal down, and which is going to help produce marble content, and then it was creating an appetite for him as well.
Yeah, because in a normal cut of beef, right, you have your cow, and the most tender part's a tenderloin because it's on the very top, and it's the most least muscle. It's not rocked down. So for them to get the premium amount out of it, and to use the whole cattle for either the select grade that we're looking for, I believe there's a mountain, they stand on a mountain, or so they can't move around?
Well, that was also going back in time. They used to keep them in certain regions, mountainside in Japan, so they were very restricted, you know, because if you have a cow that's walking around pastures all day, it's going to burn up all that marble content. So they wanted to keep them very restricted, you know, that way the less that animal's walking around, the softer that meat is going to be, the more marble it can produce.
So we have a nice little selection over here in this case. I guess you're saying this is also the bulk as well. I mean, yes. You have Wagyu tenderloin number 8 to number 9.
Oh, yeah.
What's that kind of saying?
That's, again, going back to those marble scores, that's going to be a number 9 marble score, which is going to have a great flavor, great tenderness to it. You know, a filet is a filet, but as you get to these different levels, like we have the number 4, you eat that one, you say, well, it can't get much better than that one, and then you go to that number 9 tenderloin, it's a whole nother playing field for sure.
That's awesome. Now I've actually cooked the A5 strips at my house before too, and I've fed it to friends or shown them, and they're, hey, how much is this? $100 a pound.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no way I'm going to do it. And then they try it, and they're just memorized.
Exactly.
They don't even know what to say. They're speechless, and
Well,
that's why.
There's nothing that's comparable out there to it until you've tried it, you know. And that's why when you're in a restaurant, they serve it by the ounce.
Yeah.
And if you figure that price per ounce, it's 2 to 3 times that.
Well, when they sell it in the restaurant, I've seen it up to $26, $28 an ounce for this
ounce,
particular product.
Yeah. And there's 16 ounces in a pound, so
there's
add that one up.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a little bit more.
So when they're buying these type of items too, the marbling content is so rich. Like you don't want to come in here and get like, you know, hey, I eat a 16-ounce ribeye. You're not going to be able to eat a 16-ounce piece of A5.
No, I can eat an average steak, 12 to 14 ounce on a lower marble score. I can eat, not a problem. When it gets this high marble content, this A5, I would struggle through 4 to 8 ounces of it.
Yeah.
I always suggest using it for like an appetizer. You know, if you have some guests coming over, some friends, you know, and that way everyone gets to try just a little bit of it. It's not something I would want to eat a whole lot of. And there's people that do; they'll eat a pound of it.
Yeah.
But it's just, to me, it's just so rich. A couple bites of that, and you get the point of it. You know.
So the scary thing is $100 a pound. How would you cook that? So that, because you have to melt down this marbling, correct? Like,
and it is when you're, you know, not everyone's buying $100 pound steaks all the time. So when you do pull that trigger and do it, you know, you don't want to mess it up. But the beauty is with this, all these steaks having all that high marble content, that is what gives you your flavor and your tenderness. So the biggest mistake people make is they undercook it, you know, and you want all that marble to break down. If you don't let that marble fully render down, you're kind of selling yourself short.
Right.
So to do that, what I like to do is I like to pan sear it, and then instead of keeping it in the pan the whole time, I'll preset my oven to 350, and after I've done like a nice sear, minute to 2 minutes aside, I slow roast it in the oven for probably another 10 minutes at 350.
Nice.
So it'll fully break that marble content down, not keep cooking on just the outside.
Should you let it sit for a little bit afterwards?
I mean,
just go ahead.
Well, even before, you'd want to sit almost to room temperature before you do that. And if you do that, especially with a high marbled steak, you'll see that marble start to render down, almost like if you left butter on your countertop.
Excellent.
So yeah, and then after you've pan seared and finished in the oven, if you let it rest at least 5 to 10 minutes, it's
cool. So with this particular thing, so you said pan sear it. What kind of seasoning would you use on this? So you're trying to get the flavor from the meat, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, a lot of people want to just taste what the meat is, so good salt and pepper. But if you want to even go up from there, I always go to that seasoning rub.
Seasoning from
whatever you would typically use on a steak, I would stick with that as well on there. And that's the thing. Don't try to do anything out of your comfort zone. Stick with what you've always done on a steak. But just keep in mind these steaks do have a higher marble score. So in my personal experience, they eat better more medium than they do on the rare side.
So any time that I would kind of come out here and get something like this, you always want to go all out. This is one of those things. If you're doing it, you might as well do it. Get a nice bottle of wine. Get something that has tannins in it to dry out your tongue, so you get the full flavor profile of this. Like he said, simple salt and pepper, so you get the actual marbling content of the steak and the real true flavor of it. Chef Randy with the Cutting Edge. We just got back from Jimmy P's. The awesome thing about it was that we got some great cuts coming on the way. Plus, we already got something for you to cook right now in the kitchen. So we did talk about the different cuts over there. This is the Japanese Wagyu A5 strip. This is about $140 for this one particular cut. We're going to cut this up in 3 different sections, and we're going to try to cook 2 of them sous vide, one with a different seasoning, which is actually their seasoning, which is kind of cool. So you can actually get this in their shop. This is what they cook with in their shop, and we decided to bring it home and try to see if it actually brought out more flavoring profile through the steak. We're going to do simple salt and pepper on one of them, and then the other one we're going to do exactly how they said in the butcher shop, because the one thing, if you see this, marbling goes all the way through the steak, and it's very hard to melt that down because you need heat to melt that down. So a lot of the time, the better the cut of the steak, the more kind of rare you want to go, like mid-rare, medium at max. But they kind of say that you have to cook this about medium just because of how much marbling is through this particular steak. So you get all the flavor profile and everything else, and you're not really losing much, supposedly. Okay? So we are going to cook one. We are going to pan sear it. We're going to cook it at 350 degrees, like they suggested, and we're going to cook it for 10 minutes. Now the other one that we're going to do is sous vide, and sous vide is a water bath cooking method, and that's going to cook it slowly. Takes about an hour. But it's a very, very cool tool, because just like anything else, You always have something that comes up in life. And cooking a $100 steak, you don't want to mess that up. And you don't want to say, oh, my husband's running late or this, that, or whatever. So I have this cool thing. It's the Julie Sous Vide. And it's, like I said, water bath cooking. And you have an app that goes onto your phone, already heated up the water. It heats up the water for you. So you go in, you pick the steak, and it'll get up to the temperature that you desire. You pick the temperature that you want, and it's supposed to cook it perfectly all the way throughout. And look at this. That is beautiful. And if you could tell, look at my hands. There's another reason why I'm wearing the gloves. This is very, very nice marbling, and it gives a little bit of texture that's almost kind of hard to wash off your hands, to be honest with you. But we're going to go ahead and cut this up into 3 different sections because we're cooking this 3 different ways. Cut one here. All right. So, like I said, we're going to do 1 piece with their seasoning. We're going to do 1 salt and pepper and sous vide again, and then we're going to do another piece, salt and pepper, just searing it, and then finishing off in the oven. Now the oven was at 350 degrees, what we were talking about, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to season with their seasoning. Kind of pat it down, make sure it has a nice coverage. Okay. Then we're going to go simple sea salt and pepper. You get a little height so it rains right onto the steak, about 6 inches above, full coverage. Same thing with the pepper. And then the pan-seared part. Which again, we're just going to do with salt and pepper for the natural flavor profile. Beautiful cuts of beef. Like I said, these are mostly items that you cannot get in a regular grocery store or any regular butcher shop to be at that. This is special order. This is from Japan. Their other Wagyu is from Australia, from what they said in the video. And it's one of the best marbling steaks I've ever been able to see. So what we're going to do is go ahead and put them in the Ziploc bags. And I've always done season first, don't sear first. The flavor profile of whatever you're putting on the steak, or if you're cooking anything else in the sous vide, goes right through the particular item. Especially with all this marbling, you're going to get all the flavor profile. So you add garlic, you add thyme, you add anything like that. But like we were saying, very expensive steak, so why would you have to do that? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start it in the sous vide. This is the just simple salt and pepper, so I'll just make like a little mark on there for me to kind of know what's going on. You can either cryovac or you can use a Ziploc bag. It is good to cryovac because you get all the air out, and anything that you put in there, it actually goes a little bit better for the going throughout the steak and whatnot. But you can simply just kind of take the air out of the bag if you don't have a cryovac accessible to you. So as we said, you put it in the bath. Make sure that the bags are sealed because you don't want any water in there with the meat. There we go. So we're going to go ahead, go back to our app. So now we go ahead and we press start, and it's going to tell us it takes 1 hour to do it. And you can also let it sit for 1 hour afterwards, and it won't cook up anymore as well, just in case you have anybody running late or anything else. But this is one of the best ways that I would say to cook one of these steaks, just because the hot water and it melts all the marbling throughout the steak perfectly. But like I said, we're still going to sear the steak and cook it in the oven for the other one and see how it comes out. Alright, so now that we got to this point, we're going to go ahead and sear and cook in the oven the rest of the way, just like Matt at Jimmy P's said. To sear rare, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put it in the oven, 350 degrees, 10 minutes. And by the time that we're done getting that in there, we should be hearing an alarm for the sous vide over here to go ahead and start the other ones. We're going to sear them, then we'll cut them out, see which one came out the best. I like to cook with clarified butter. It doesn't smoke, which is nice, but you're going to see smoke from the fat content melting down. But at the same time, it also doesn't have all the fat from the butter, all the salt from the butter. You're getting kind of more of the natural flavor. There's two different ways of doing this, obviously. One is in the oven, or in the microwave, sorry. One is in the microwave, and what you do is you go ahead and put it about 2-3 minutes. You're going to melt it. It's going to separate. You'll see the fat content on the bottom, and then you just go ahead and pour it into the bottle. Or you can put it on the stove, bring it to a boil, a light boil. It starts to kind of change color a little bit, but it gives you a nutty flavor. I like doing this and then searing it because after it cooks into the pan anyway, I think you're trying to get that nutty flavor anyway. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to go Matt's way on this one. This is the one that we said. Simple sea salt, black pepper, right? We're going to go ahead and pan sear it rare. We're just going to get a nice little color on it. That's it. And then we're going to finish it in the oven, 350 degrees for 10 minutes. So we're going to take this particular beef right here, right? And we're going to go ahead and we're going to sear it. You just want to get a nice coating on there, nice and brown, not trying to char the outside, not trying to do anything like that. I have this on 8 on my stovetop. Every stovetop is different. You know, if you're cooking with fire, medium to high heat is what I usually cook with if I'm cooking with fire, but not everybody has that either. So we're trying to make it all comfortable, see what you do inside your house. We can also flip it over, check it. You don't want to flip it over too soon because then some of the seasonings will stick to the pan. So you want to give it a little bit of time. I'm getting that nice smell right now, so obviously it's getting a little bit of a color crust. We're going to flip it over just to kind of check it out. Oh, there we go. That's perfect. So that's what we're kind of looking for. We're trying to just get that nice sear to it. Smells awesome though. If you're in this room right now, I can't wait till you actually get one from this particular location or in your area. This is just awesome smell. Like I said, we'll sear the sides a little bit. And go ahead and transfer over. And we're going to leave this going so that we can actually sear the next 2 steaks. So go ahead and put this straight into the oven. Like I said, everybody's oven's different, so you got to go with what you go with. But 350 is what they told us, so we're going to go with 350 on this oven. It's not a convection oven, so we're going to see how it does in here after we slice it and go from there. We're going to come over here. We're going to check and see how much time that we have left. So this is done. So it is saying has been holding. So if you actually look at this, you can say it has been holding for 4 minutes. It's been done already. You can stop the Julie. Hit OK. It can hold for an hour after what we said. The smaller pieces, as we didn't really talk about this before, but the smaller pieces, I don't know if it's because it's so fatty or if it's just such a small piece, they float a little bit. So I actually had to put a little bit of a weight on it just to kind of push it down. Now this water is really hot, just kind of keep that in mind. But I did take that off. We have the 2 pieces that we said. This is the one obviously we use their seasoning on that they have in store that they use on all their chicken, all their beef, all their pork, and it smells awesome. Wait until you smell this, try it out. It's a really nice seasoning. And then this is our regular just salt and pepper. So we'll bring them over. So we'll get this back on the heat. We're going to do the salt and pepper one first, because we don't want to cross season what we already have for the other seasoning, and we already did salt and pepper from the get-go. So we'll take the one that we said, salt and pepper first. Oh, there we go. That's that sound we're looking for. Now, since this is already at the desired temperature that we said, and we hopefully this melted down the marbling of the steak, we're just going to go ahead and sear it. We're just going to get like how we did before we got in the oven, and then that's cooking the rest of the way. This is already done. So let's go ahead, give it about 20 seconds. Flip it over. Yeah, look at that. Can't go wrong. The smell, I just can't even tell you until you actually cook this in your own kitchen. It's just, it's amazing. And then wait till you actually bite into it. So we're done. So we're going to put the first piece right over here. Now this is sous vide, salt and pepper only, obviously. Now we're going to go ahead and just to make the comments below so that we're doing this the proper way. I know it's just salt and pepper, but we'll go ahead and we'll get some of this out of the pan. Try to still keep it hot, but it's all nice and fresh. All right, so this piece taken out. Go ahead, and we're going to put this one over on the very end, right here. Okay, nice and hot. Nice, beautiful color from the seasoning. It's also why it might be a little bit darker, but you can smell the aromas from the seasoning itself. First one that we did, salt, pepper, sous vide, 100%. Second one that we're going to be putting is the seasoning that they actually use at Jimmy P's, and then it's sous vide and then seared, which we're going to transfer over right now. Right in the middle. Then at the very end is the seared and then put into the oven, 350 degrees, 10 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and cut the steaks. All right, so like I said, going into it, let it sit for a little bit of time. Honestly, I can't give you the perfect amount of time. I have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then it's cold, etc. I let it sit for a little bit on the board. Plus, when you cut this anyway, you're going to see a lot of juice coming out anyway. There's a lot of marbling in these steaks, so don't be scared whenever you do that. Another thing, you're going to see the up and down, the grains of the meat are going up and down. You want to cut against the grain of the meat. That's going to be your more tender. I don't think you can really mess this steak up, but so you can pretty much cut it any way you want is what my guess is. But we're going to go ahead, we're going to slice these all up. Then we're going to have the roughest critic go ahead and judge me on these. She hasn't been in the room. She has no clue what we did, how we cooked them, any way that we had this done. So we're going to slice them, leave them on the board as said, and see what she says. Okay? Second piece. Third piece. Now, from my viewpoint of it, I think the sous vide did a little bit better on melting down the marbling from the inside. I'm going to go ahead and bring my wife in. She's outside. That's the roughest critic that I have. Her name is Brecken. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we got. All right. And my beautiful baby daughter, Layla, she's not going to try it yet. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go from A, B, C. We just want your honest opinion. That's it. Which one kind of melts better in your mouth? Which one has the most flavor? Which one you'd pick in the end? So don't tell us what it is till the very end, okay? Mm-hmm. Layla, you ready? Okay. So I'll cut this down just a little bit so it's not as big of a piece, okay? We're going to go with our first piece. I got gloves on anyway. Let's go ahead. Okay. Tell me when you're done because I know you're just enjoying it. Tough job she's got. Uh-oh. I think the baby wants them too. All right. So, you ready? We're going to go to the next cut.
Oh, wow. Good.
Ooh, we got it straight out of the box, a comment. Wonder which one that one is. Mm-hmm. All right. Now we got number 3.
I don't know, I felt like they got more tender as they went down.
Which one in the end run had the best flavor profile, had the best overall? Okay, so sous vide is the winner for one, okay? And then from the critic, the seasoning that we actually had from Jimmy P's, and I swear, she wasn't in the room, I let her in. Honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and dive in on this, and so are the producers and everybody else, to 100% verify that and make sure that this is true. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys always watching, and what we're going to try to do is every once in a while we're going to try to give something away, give away a gift card, or whoever actually provided us some of the product. In this case, it's Jimmy P's. Jimmy P's has two $50 gift cards, and what you're going to do is you're going to comment down below and you're going to hit like, and I really need that because this is how we're going to get more videos out, okay? So go ahead and comment below, hit like, put something in the comments though, what you learned, what you thought of it, try to be nice, and then we'll go from there. And then I'll let them know who the winner is and we'll give you a call. So leave your number underneath whenever you actually subscribe, and we'll see how it goes.